Hey guys, my name is Michael. I live in Sacramento, California. I'm an Airbnb Superhost, and I've been hosting now in Sacramento for 3 years. I have 4 Airbnbs and I absolutely love it because I'm also an artist and I get to share the artwork and paintings that I create with everyone in the world. So thanks for being here today to take a look at my tiny house. I travel a lot. I love traveling and meeting new people, seeing the world, visiting new countries. And I actually used Airbnb for many, many years before I even thought about becoming a host. I knew the moment when I wanted to become a host because I bought my first house. I lived there for about a year and I realized that I didn't really need all the space that I had bought. And so I thought, hey, why don't I sort of just share my space with other people and share it with the world. And I also have been an artist and a painter for my whole life, and my entire home was filled with paintings, so I knew that that would be something that travelers like myself would enjoy. This is the property. This is the first short-term rental I started out with in 2017. This is what we call the big art house, and then just down this gravel driveway is the tiny art house. It's what you guys are here to see today. First thing you'll see when you make that pretty aggressive turn into this driveway is this little tiny art house sign. I painted it myself, and it was actually made from some scrap wood that we had left over from the construction of the tiny house. So I wanted to repurpose it, and I thought what better way to repurpose it than to welcome everybody with a sign. The house itself is a 1930s house, and so the garage was also built in the 1930s. It was in really bad condition. The garage door didn't go up and down. So I'd always looked at the space and tried to figure out what I was going to use it for, but I never could really pinpoint it. I didn't want to park my car inside of it. It was just dirty and disheveled and not stable. So it just sat empty for a few years while I was living here. And then when I put my house on Airbnb and realized that there was potential in renting out spaces to people, then that was kind of the aha moment. I just saw an empty space and it was full of opportunity. And what better way for me to create a space that people could enjoy than to fill it with art, a bed, a bathroom, a cool backyard, and say, welcome in to the whole world. So the first thing that guests actually see when they drive up to the tiny house is this mural here. And when I painted it, I really wanted to incorporate some cool things from Sacramento that I love. So one of the things that we have in the city is a bunch of fun, crazy people, right? Because I think that's actually in every city, but I think it's special for Sacramento too. And then I also love, you'll see this as a common theme throughout the entire tiny house, is the city. I love buildings, I love skyscrapers. I actually love drones and flying from above and seeing things from a city view looking down. So I wanted to incorporate that in a lot of the artwork that you see here. And so one of the things that Sacramento is also famous for is our Farm to Fork celebration. And it's really cool because it really celebrates food, local food and vendors who produce food for the region. And so you'll see here, it looks like it's supposed to be part of the road, but it's kind of like a farm. And you got some silverware popping up here too. So just kind of like whimsical, fun stuff that I wanted to incorporate this as your first introduction to my tiny world. Let's check out the rest of the space. So this is it. This is 200 square feet of tiny art space. The entire build took about 6 months to build, which was definitely beyond the timeline that we originally anticipated. But you know what? We finally got it to a place where I was happy with it, and I'm so glad that people were enjoying it. So when you first walk through the door, you're immediately sort of presented with the kitchen area. Guests have access to use this little toaster oven, which everyone loves to create like their toast, make their bagels. I usually leave like little snacks or little Pop-Tarts for guests to enjoy. Everyone loves Pop-Tarts. This is a little sink. It's actually a bar sink, so it's not like a big standard size sink. And it's plenty of space to do like your little dishes, you know, little cups. And then we also offer for breakfast items, oatmeal and some coffee. It's usually my favorite brand locally and from Sacramento. And then of course you got your wine glasses and things like that for later on in the evening. And then I really love incorporating some small things from my travels. These cups here and these saucers are actually from Mexico. I love just bringing little pieces of my travels along and putting them in the houses because guests just really appreciate that kind of stuff. And then below here, you actually have a small refrigerator. Usually guests will leave like some breakfast items and things like that, and we'll just leave them in there for the next guest because who doesn't appreciate free breakfast, right? I got some really cool towels that I got from Berlin when I was shopping at a thrift store there. And these little salt and pepper shakers are also from Mexico. And then just above in these floating cabinets, like I said, you have the microwave on that side, but you also have access to your pots and pans, as well as some dishes and some bowls. And this is really helpful for the hot plate that we have over here. You know, my friends, when they've stayed here, we've been able to cook huge pots of pasta, have like little buffet items, so it really works well. Really, the goal was to fill every single space that it could and try to use it, you know, either for art or just for utilitarian. And this always makes people laugh, the little cheese grater. I'm not sure people are actually using it, but I hope that they're at least laughing at it, like I did. So this is pretty much the whole kitchen area. And then up here on the very top, like I said, every space is filled with something, right? I sculpted this piece out of some molding clay. And then plants are always nice to just create some life in the space, which people tend to appreciate. Actually, originally this back wall of the house was the garage door, but I really wanted the back space to open up to the backyard. So we closed this off with a wall and made it a closet and a bathroom. And then we actually opened up the other side of the garage to create an open space for the backyard. Heading back to the closet, you'll see that there is a rack here, and it actually contains a whole bunch of little art prints of my and my friends' original art pieces. We have drone photography, but also a lot of acrylic works. And also, if you're getting hungry, because everyone tends to do that every now and then, you can purchase some snacks, which are here as well. And then these closet doors, these are also painted. They're originally white, but who likes white closet doors? It's kind of boring, right? So I thought of it as an opportunity and we painted them. And I love when we open the closet, there's sort of a peekaboo surprise moment. You get a flash of light that comes on and illuminates where you can store your things, whether it's suitcases or your shoes or laundry, things like that. You can store them in the closet and guests have access to that. The first thing you're going to notice when you get into the bathroom is this tall standing cabinet. And we usually put like guest supplies in here. And then along this wall, we have these racks that guests can stack their towels on in case they come out of the shower and need to put their towels somewhere. And then there's some photography that's sort of spread throughout the space. I took these really cool pictures in Berlin when I went to go see the Holocaust installation, and I thought they're really inspirational, as well as a couple other shots on a train ride from Prague to Berlin. It was beautiful, and I thought people would just appreciate those moments in such a small and intimate space. And then over here, you have a standing shower, and then right above the shower, if you want to, you can take a look at some of the artwork. These are acrylic paintings that I've done. They're, you know, pretty small and intimate and fun, and I thought it would add a lot of color and character to the space. What's also unique is that all the artwork that's shown in the tiny art house, even in the bathroom, is for sale and for purchase. And that is something that a lot of travelers and guests love about the tiny art house, because they feel like they can take a piece of the house with them. And I love providing that experience, it really gives me a lot of joy. You know, we've got some quirky things in here, some orange toilet paper, which is kind of wacky, but hey, it works, which is the most important part about toilet paper. Just right to the door when you come in, there's Wi-Fi information here. I also provide information about a local farmer's market, as well as a guidebook for all of our favorite places in Sacramento where guests are guaranteed really to have a really good experience. And so all that is immediately to the right of the door when you walk in, and you're kind of, at this point, you're entering the bedroom. So we thought it was really important to include a queen bed in the space because it just provides the maximum amount of comfort in such a small area. And it was also really important for us to make sure that it was a Murphy bed because I wanted the space to be convertible. So if you woke up on a Sunday morning and decided you wanted to do some yoga, you could actually lift the bed and make the space into your own personal yoga studio. So it was a pretty expensive item. We paid about $1,300 overall for the bed, and that doesn't include the cost of installation. But it was really important for us to factor that into our overall budget, which at the end of the day, including the backyard landscaping and also the driveway, we spent about $55,000 on this project. But as I said before, it's been super worth it, and since month one, we've already been returning more than the mortgage on the place. The most surprising thing to me about the tiny art house is when I first launched it. I really didn't have any idea of how popular it was going to be until I started doing the numbers. The mortgage itself on the tiny house, after everything was paid for and said and done, is about $400 a month. And since we launched in 2020, I have not hit a month where we've grossed less than $1,600 a month. And I think that is really one of the factors that drives me to continue to host and to also want to create more tiny houses. So I do have a day job and my day job is very structured. It's very different. My goal is really to separate myself from that structured environment and really to allow myself more time to celebrate in my passion. The revenue that I'm getting from just the tiny art house alone has allowed me to take on more houses and create more areas and work with other artists in the community to create these spaces that people can enjoy. I really just want to continue with that momentum and take advantage of the opportunity that Airbnb and hosting in general has afforded me. One of the first things I wanted guests to feel like when they came outside was that the outside was connected to the inside. That's why the window's so big. And so the first experience that you feel when you come outside is this warm embrace of the sunlight, and then you look up and you see this huge eucalyptus tree. But really, it's just supposed to be a place where you can connect with nature. It's a quiet oasis. You can sit here, have some breakfast and coffee with your friend or your partner, chill and relax. You can read a magazine. There's magazines of the newspaper box over there. And then also over here, you have a little garden. So we have chamomile plants there. There's some mint, and there's even a tomato plant, believe it or not. And we also included a little canteen so you could water the plants and feel like you're really connected to the garden. In the further part of the backyard, of course, you see this bench here, which I love and all the guests love it. How could you not just sit down and take a seat, right? I actually didn't know what color the bench was going to be until I started creating some of the other artwork that I'm going to show. I just really wanted the whole backyard to be a color-rich experience. And so you'll see as I show you some of the things, how many different colors are actually back here. Over here in this part of the backyard, one of the things I really like to do on my off time is play with drones. And so this picture is something that I found from another artist. It's actually of Sacramento, and I thought this is the perfect spot in this backyard to showcase this piece. And everyone who comes here, they can't wait to come up to it and try and figure out where they are in Sacramento on this map, but it's a really fun part of the backyard. Even from the bed in the back of the tiny house, you can look out of the glass window and see these huge 4 doors. We just wanted the outdoor space again to feel like an outside art gallery. So full of colors and just a really cool vibe. My best friend loves to frequent flea markets, and she randomly sent me a picture of this lifeguard chair, and I said, I have to have that. And I knew it was going to be a part of the tiny art house backyard because I also incorporated this grass wall here. And I really like the fact that people can come here for a photo op and tag their favorite Instagram moments. So if you ever come to Sacramento and check out the Tiny Art House, you should tag your favorite art house moments at Tiny Art House ABB. I was born a painter, and so I love creating artwork, and that has never gone away from me. It's always something that I've always come back to if I get anxiety or stressed out. Art is a release for me. And so in that, I'm always creating art. I'm always painting. And what better way to showcase them than to put them up in houses so people could also sort of share in that energy and enjoy them as much as I love creating them. So I have 4 art houses now, and by how much art I continue to create, I think I'm gonna have more in the future, hopefully. But what's also cool about the art houses is that I connect with other artists in the community, as well as my friends who also create art like myself, and it gives them opportunity to showcase their work too. And most guests just love it. They love being in the spaces and seeing what we create as artists. There are millions of people who use Airbnb, and a lot of them happen to be artists and creatives. So yeah, it's a way that we can network and connect, and I think that's important. It's an important part of the platform, and I love that Airbnb celebrates it, because I do too.
Thank you for watching our video and for stopping by Tiny House Expedition. I'm Alexis.
And I'm Christian. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe.
And for more tiny home tours and stories, click the videos below.
And join us on Patreon for bonus content,
including face-to-face conversations with us. We hope to see you there.
All right.
Thanks, guys.
Have a good one.